The biggest problem with comic books are just fans, or the quote unquote fan. Oh, I was recording? Well, that's the video. Hello, once more, humans. I'm Roman, and welcome to a new video. So, now that I am quote unquote free from Ben 10 million, and since I don't want to be known as the guy who talks about Ben 10 all the time, I decided to make a video about another topic I like comic books. But before that, I want to shout out Shark T or Sharked. Honestly, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but he made some really cool Ben 10 million art and it's phenomenal, so I wanted to give him a shout out for that. He really deserves it. Now, let's go into the video. Comic books have existed throughout decades, inspiring series, video games, movies, and all of that stuff. Comic books are a fictional way that we can view the world and feel identified with characters. The first superhero being Superman, feeling like an outcast trying to fit in a new world, which I believe we all have been in that situation sometimes. However, comic books do have a problem, and sadly, it's with the modern era. So, I recently asked on my Instagram, what do you guys think is the problem with comic books? If you're not following me, please follow. And some of you have answered in various situations and various problems comic books have, and they're all pretty valid, so we're gonna go through them. My buddy Night Spirit says he doesn't have any problems with comic books, and honestly, it's great. If you don't see any problems with a comic book, or if you don't see problems with comic books, that means you're enjoying and you're not toxic like most of the people on Twitter. So thank you for existing. Um, Another person here said that they have lazy writing, and I kind of agree at some points because comic books do tend to give up with some storylines and just do a lazy job or give out lazy solutions to a problem, but we'll go over that in a bit. Um, Other things I have seen is that there are a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of lack of character development, and one that really struck me was not letting characters move on or develop differently, if that makes sense. And now I'm going to share my what I think are my problems with comic books. All right, before I talk about my issues with comic books, I'm going to tell you what I believe a comic book would strive for. A comic book presents characters that we can all relate to no matter about race, gender, orientation, nationality. It's just a character that has similar values and similar situations to us. And it's a fantastical and imaginary way of us to see real life problems. A comic book can also tackle different situations that go on in the real world as a way of an artistic protest or just to raise awareness. Comic books are a powerful tool for artists to give out a message. Now, I would say the first problem with comic books are fans, and not regular fans. I am talking about that type of fan. The type of fan that only wants one story and one type of situation and one type of resolution. I'm talking about the gatekeepers and the purists. In a previous video, I mentioned it, but they are a massive problem. We can take in, for example, the Absolute Universe from DC, that we have this guy ranting for revenge or vengeance. I don't know, the man thinks he's Batman or some shit. Um, where he calls Absolute Batman transgender, that the story is garbage, just because it doesn't fit that one single story he likes. And he even says it in the video that it doesn't fit Frank Miller or The Long Halloween. And it's just one single story or two single stories that you like. But this is a whole completely new take on the character. Um, the best way I can give out an example is using one of my friend's comics, Noximation, which shout out to Noxy. He has the comic The Changers, which basically covers all I said a comic book should do, or could do. You know, it's the artist message. But let's take this in consideration. Noxy has said that some of the comics deal with racial stuff and racial problems, right? So let's say he makes this comic and he is tackling that issue through his story. And then, I don't know, some random fan is like, no, he doesn't understand the characters because there should always be a third way. And they're hopeful. They must be hopeful. And they must be this. And what I say is that it's the artist and the creator's message. I said it in, well, the introduction of what a comic book can do. So it's the artist giving out a message or raising awareness. As a fan, you can either enjoy it or just wait for something you like to come around, because saying that these people, the people that know what type of message they're going to give, don't know anything about the characters you like because you wanted one single outcome to happen, is just stupid. To wrap up the first problem, um, if you have been seeing my channel for a long time, you do know that I love the Zack Snyder era on DC. And it's okay if you didn't enjoy some of the decisions, even though I liked it. There were some things that I say that were a bit questionable. But then again, when you see other type of criticisms, they're just so stupid. They're incredibly stupid. They're like, why doesn't Superman have the red trunks? Why are the colors too dark? Why isn't Superman smiling? Or why is Batman too bulky? Why is his bat symbol so big? Why does he have guns on the Batmobile, even though every single Batmobile has had weapons? Why doesn't Wonder Woman, why was Wonder Woman waxed on the armpits? Like, that literally made it to the news. Um, and it's so dumb. Legitimately, it's so stupid. And hell, we don't even have to talk about Zack Snyder. We can take it to the DC animated movies. DC itself, the guys that created these characters and created these stories, they decided to make some stories animated, right? And people were like, no, this is too dark. This is not hopeful. Why are the colors too dark? Why is Superman with Wonder Woman? Why is Flash, I don't know, just being Flash? Because apparently, yeah, we're hating Flash too. Um, and it's so dumb. Legitimately is stupid. Oh, why does Flash have the yellow boots? Or why does Flash doesn't have the yellow boots? Why are his earpieces lightning instead of wings? Why are the earpieces wings instead of lightning? And it's just so idiotic that it burns the brain cells to even try to argue with these people and make sense with. All right, now that we wrapped up with the first problem, The second problem with comic books would have to be consistency, as in my opinion, you cannot see the progress of a character. Let's say you have Superman fighting against Darkseid, and then the next day you have him struggling against a building. Like, it is just, to me, is so stupid because you're not actually keeping a coherent storyline. You're just throwing shit and hoping it sticks. Um, Also, the writing and the issues some characters have to face is another problem for me. So that's the third problem. Because, for example, once again, Superman, you have him in a two-way situation, and then magically a third option opens up and he takes that one, and nothing happens, nobody's hurt, everything is just perfect. And that is an issue because you take away the stakes, and by having this magical third option appear out of nowhere, it's just anticlimactic and takes away the tension, takes away the whole tension of the moment in comic books. Another thing I have to say is the fourth problem: repeating storylines. How many times we have seen Crisis on Infinite Earths? Hell, I know that DC and Marvel and all that stuff have done basically everything imaginable in comic books. I understand. But having DC's Infinite Crisis Part 2, Marvel Zombies, uh, all of that stuff being repeated, Deceased. Now there's a vampire DC type stuff. It's just like we already been through this. Like, what can you do to differentiate it? This is why, for example, comics like Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman are such a breath of fresh air because you are taking down a character back to zero and building him up again. You are taking a character and remaking his whole storyline and not keeping it exactly the same as other universes or as the main universe. Superman is not this amazing and rich and smart, well, not smart, but this influential character with an influential family. He comes from a worker class family who were right all along, but a corrupt system led them to destruction. Batman is a working class citizen that lost his parents, but dedicated his life to engineering and working on himself to becoming the Batman he is. See, all of that type of stuff are what keeps comic books interesting. Give a different take. Don't repeat the same thing just because it worked once. Anyway, guys, that was the video. Um, if you have any other issues with comic books, or you want to say something about comic book series or comic book movies and all that stuff, leave a comment down below. If you like this sort of content, please like, share, and subscribe. And turn on the post notifications so you know when I drop a video. And I'll see you on the next time. Bye.